So let's get to the action then. West Ham and Chelsea. Tony Gale and Jim Proudfoot, your commentary team.
We've had a real difficult opening start. We've been prepared and we've been ready for it, but the results didn't show that or prove it. But I thought tonight we did. We were always waiting in a moment or a chance, and we hoped that our luck would change a little bit. We've felt that it's not been going quite with us in some of the games. But I thought we worked harder tonight and probably deserved that change of luck.
And we dominated the game, clearly, in terms of possession. But if you make mistakes, teams in the Premier League will hurt you and they'll score goals against you. And not happy with any of the goals. We need to probably test their keeper more, considering how much ball we had. But no, you don't get given victories for scoring 2 goals. You have to be better than that.
I wonder Frank Lampard looks so frustrated, particularly given all the possession that Chelsea had. But from West Ham's point of view, that's not their problem. What a result that was.
It was a great result. The performance was there as well, Mark. They showed character when they were defending. I thought the 2 centre-halves, Diop and Bono, were excellent. Every time a ball went up, they never lost a header. In front of them, Declan Rice was superb, as he has been all season. They had willing runners all over the pitch. I think Jared Bowen on the right-hand side, he just works incredibly hard, provides decent skill, playing out of position. And Antonio leading the line, I mean, he was sensational. I don't think I've ever seen Rudiger have such a bad game. I'm a massive Rudiger fan, but I tell you, Antonio just bullied them. His hold-up play was good. Everything about him, he was infectious. He runs the channels. Everything about that performance, David Moyes can say and take so many positives from.
Glenn, if it finished 2-2, that's not a bad result for Chelsea, bearing in mind the Champions League places. So my question to you is, why on earth did they leave themselves so open to the counter for the winning goal?
Well, they do, and I've seen it time and time again. Alonso gets caught right up the pitch on the left-hand side, and they were building up on the right side. Look, it's too sparse, and Rudiger there has got to show him outside. Yarmolenko wants to come in on his left side. You've got to show him outside on his right, cuts the angle down, and you're backing your goalkeeper. Once he come inside there, all the angles open up, and you know what? It's a great finish. It really is a lovely finish, because he's not tried to hit it too hard. He's just stroked it into the corner. But Chelsea, to be fair, felt as if they could go on and win that game. And I've seen it happen to them. It's OK. They need somebody that can organise defensively when they're on the attack. When they're on the attack, they get caught. They've got to have someone at the back there or someone in the centre of midfield that is actually waiting for the hook ball to be handed over, and his job is to organise the back players and the midfield and make sure you don't get broke on like that. Because Alonso and Azpilicueta, the 2 fullbacks, were so high up on the pitch in the last minutes of the game, and I'm sure they would have took a point.
But as you say, Rudiger knows that Yarmolenko's all left-footed. Just show him that. If he shows him down the right-hand channel, he's unlikely to score, let's be honest.
Very unlikely. I've seen Yarmolenko do this for Ukraine when he plays on that right-hand side, and as soon as he comes inside with his left foot, he's got a hammer of a left foot. He can smack them from 35 yards at the top corners. And like Glenn said, he's got the ability to stay calm in front of goal, and he just places it into that bottom corner. And it's a strange one with Chelsea, because when you think of the losses that they've lost, I think, against Bournemouth at the Bridge, lost against Southampton, West Ham, obviously, early on as well. It's almost like when I watch them, they're either in a defensive shape when they're playing against the top sides, or they are very free and very gung-ho against the sides that they think they can win. And there's nothing, there's no...
The answer's always in the middle somewhere, isn't it?
But they don't seem patient. Like Glenn said, they need someone, and they've got the personnel, whether you want Kante's legs or you want Jorginho to play as a quarterback, they've got the personnel for someone to sit in there and just say, right, I'm going to protect my 2 centre-halves if we lose the ball. Whenever you see Chelsea lose a goal, they've got so many bodies going forward, and that's probably the hallmark of Chelsea at the minute, where they're so eager to get the wins. They're so desperate to get the wins, they're forgetting at the back door.
Let's have a look at the bottom of the table. Massive result for West Ham, which has big implications for everybody else, particularly, of course, for those below them. We'll get on to Bournemouth and Norwich a little bit later. But just gives West Ham a little bit of breathing space in there as well, those 3 points. Do you want to go and show us about Antonio? He's a bit of a cult hero, isn't he, at West Ham? And actually sort of maybe arguably not playing in his favourite position last night, Tom.
No, because the fans absolutely love him, Mark, because what he will do is he'll put a real shift in any position. He can play off the right-hand side, he can play off the left, he can lead the line. And I just thought his performance last night, the way he went about his business, was absolutely first class. We know he's really strong. He gets into these positions. He could be a little bit calmer. He's a little bit too desperate to get his shot away. This was, I thought, the best move of the match. They kept hold of the ball in midfield with Fornals and Declan Rice picks a lovely pass into Antonio, and he plays it safe side as well. The gap's too big between Rudiger and Alonso. That could be something Frank would look at. He takes a nice little touch, then he gets his body in. And I thought in real time there might have been a shout for a penalty, and I think Antonio was asking the same thing as the referee as well, asking the question. There might have been a tug on his shoulder. It's worth an appeal. But then he gets up, Mark, and he carries on, and he gets himself into a decent position. Defending's awful. It's worth an appeal. But then he gets up, Mark, and he carries on, and he gets himself into a decent position. Defending's awful, but he's in there. Good work from Jared Bowen and Antonio with a finish, and that was him all night. He was a constant menace. You know, he's nearly on the end of things there when he's spinning behind a little deflection off Wiltshire and it fell into his path. This move, I think, is brilliant from start to finish. I mean, Chelsea can pull this apart, and Glenn can talk about maybe he's the defendant. Marcos Alonso, as we see, is more or less next to Yarmolenko, who's going to finish it, so he should be sprinting back. He should smell danger. Everyone's eyes are transfixed on where the ball might be going. I love the work from Declan Rice, a little clip ball into the channel, and now West Ham, another in business. Great little touch from Fornals, takes it on the back foot, and then once he plays that ball, Mikel Antonio, what you've got to do now, Mark, and we'll talk about the finish being really good, but a lesson, I think, for all the young kids around the world, if you ever get in this position where Antonio Rudiger is 1v1 with a left-sided player, it sounds a little bit daft, but what you've got to do is you've got to slow your run down. Don't be in a panic to try and catch Yarmolenko in there where you can get spun. You've actually got to slow your run down and then say to a left-footed player, I am actually going to go so slow here, a jogging pace, and I'm going to show you that position as well. And if Yarmolenko takes that shot on against Kepler from that angle, he scores there probably 1 in 50 at most. He doesn't score on his right foot, not from that angle. And also, he's got the ability at the same time, if you do show him on his left foot, to play that ball around the corner. So there's a 2v1 opportunity. So Rudiger will be killing himself because he's one of the best defenders in the Premier League. And as soon as you show him onto his left foot, you know, for him, I don't even think that's a hard finish for him because he's so comfortable on that left-hand side. It's a stunning finish from my point of view, but for him and the defending, from Chelsea's point of view, they will look at that over and over again, and so many mistakes. But for West Ham's point of view, fantastic winning goal.
I'd be asking Rudiger if he knows that player. Does he know Yarmolenko's left-footed? You know, have you looked at the videos before the game? As he's going over there, it's got to be running through his head, surely.
Must know, though, being an international.
You would think so, but it didn't look like it the way...
No. It's amazing how often it happens, though, isn't it? How many times did people show Bale back onto his left foot that season? We're all going, no, show him the other way.
Same with Riyad Mahrez.
Riyad Mahrez, absolutely.
You know.
Let's have a look from Chelsea's point of view. Top of the table, the significance of this, just tightening up in the battle for the Champions League places. They've lost 10 games, 9 points fewer at this stage than Sarri had, even fewer points than Di Matteo and Villas-Boas as well. But it's still in their hands. It's a really interesting one, isn't it? The second worst defensive record in the Premier League era, Chelsea, and yet it's still in their hands, Glenn.
It's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it? When you think about that, to lose 10 games already is too much. If you're trying to get in the top 4 and you're trying to get... He's got a wonderful squad there. But there's something missing within the ethos of it. They've got to make sure that they become more professional about... They all want to play when they've got the ball. They all want to play when they've got the ball. Man United went through this a little bit for the last few years. But they've got to work harder as a team to defend, whether that's your midfield. But I think it is putting too many people forward. They look better. Chelsea look better to me defensively when a team are going to come onto them and they know they're going to be out-possessioned. Be it maybe Man City, Liverpool, and they look nice and tight and they look compact and everyone knows their job. Whereas I think when they're going to try and open teams out, they end up losing. 10 games is too many. And it's not against the top teams all the time. They lack concentration.
And with the way that Man United are and the way that Wolves are at the moment, yes, the Manchester City situation is not going to be resolved for another 10 days. Well, that is far from a gimme, the Champions League now. They made some great signings for next season, but it's far from a gimme. They will be playing in the Champions League.
No, they've got a lot of work to do. They really have, and they've got the FA Cup to deal with as well. Frank will want to go all the way and win that. So he's got the squad to deal with it. But for me, it's quite a simple one. If you can't score and you can't create, you're worried as a manager. You're thinking, we've got to go into the market and get... He's got tons of them. at the moment. I bet he doesn't know what his
Especially
best
next season,
team is.
yeah.
Next season's going to have even more. He's got to look at how do we get a John Terry, it's not easy, or an experienced player in there who needs to defend properly, but also organise people. They need to be organised. You know, when they're on the attack with the ball, someone's got to be pulling people around, and they'll cut half of their goals that they're conceding completely out if they do if a player like that. But they're not easy to come by either.
No, absolutely. They're quite a premium, those players. Blow for Chelsea then in the race for the top 4.